Sarah D. at Behavior Dots, part of the Curiosity Bits Collective, and this tutorial is on setting up the Koding virtual machine for data mining in Python. Make sure you go to the bottom and get the link to the GitHub account where we have all of the steps that you're going to go through today. An easy thing to do, what I did right here, is just click on the raw and you can copy and paste this whole section into a text document. And what we're going to just do is move step by step and paste it right in. Setting up is a one-time deal, so you don't have to understand too much about what you're doing. But we're going to go through setting up this virtual machine so you can run code seamlessly. Let's start at step 1. Open this back up, which is installing the pip package manager for Python. And don't worry if things are already installed. Because if it's already installed, it'll just tell you that. There's usually a long pause and then it starts working. Our second step is going to be installing Python developers. So we'll copy right here, paste, and enter again. I'm just going to clean up as we go and delete the steps that we've done so we know we're on step 3. Put my capital Y in and press enter. And next thing we're going to do is set up the easy install. Although it's called easy install, it's actually the hardest thing that we're going to do, and it would have caused you the most errors, but we have it all taken care of. So we'll start by typing in sudo su, and this gets us on the root user. So you'll see that it switches from user to now root, giving us that super user power. We'll copy each one of these lines, paste, and enter. Next one with sudo python at the end, paste, enter. And our final one right here, which has the user at the end, and we'll enter. Finish processing dependencies. Excellent. Delete that and move on to our next step. Install the Libmysqlclient. Highlight again, still in root user, and paste. Another capital Y and enter. And it's going to work through that, and I will delete the steps. They're on GitHub if we need them again. Still in root, we're going to do easy install MySQL, the Python package. Once we're through that, I'm going to exit, so I'm no longer in the super user. We don't want to be in there if we don't have to. We can make mistakes. I'm going to use the KPM package manager that comes with Koding and paste in our next line to start setting up MySQL. I'm going to set a password here, something very easy just because we're using it as practice. Make sure you remember what it is. There's no forgot password button like you would normally have on Google. Installation complete. Next I'm going to do is start initializing and setting up our MySQL. We'll use sudo service MySQL start. Job is already running, excellent. And we're going to log into MySQL with a -u, that is root, and that's our user, and -p, which is going to ask us for our password. Enter that password that you set up and hopefully remember. And now we're on to our next step and clear us out here, so we're back up to the top. Okay, we're going to create our user. I can just copy this right here. So now we're no longer in terminal. We're now actually entering into SQL. You can see this is MySQL. Create user, fake name at localhost, and we're going to use a password temppass. I'm just going to type this in because it's easy. Show databases. Perfect. We can see the 3 that are already present. We're going to create a new one. So create database test. And then I'm going to grant all access on test to fake name, not suspicious at all, at localhost. Perfect. Let's clear ourselves up here. Now we're going to press Control D and exit out of MySQL. Bye. Our next step is going to install Dataset, which is a database package in Python for lazy people. And one thing they always say about coders is we are lazy. I will paste in sudo pip install dataset. If you have trouble at this step, please tweet me, let me know. I've troubleshot a few ways to go through this and it seems to be working consistently. But do make sure you're using sudo. If you don't, it will not work. Excellent. We got through that without any red yelling at us. Consider that a success. So now we're going to modify our MySQL in Python, which is our end goal. When we're data mining, we want to be able to use our Python script to bring things in and modify and set up our data set with data. We're going to go in Python. Now I'm in Python. I'm no longer exactly in terminal. Now we're going to import dataset. So importing that new Python package. Now if you go to the dataset page, quick start, you'll see it starts with this dataset.connect and we can specify all of the information we need. For some reason that was throwing an error. So I find if you use this default one first, and we'll call this DB, and we'll just connect. If we print DB, you'll see that it created an SQLite, but that's not the database we just set up that we want to access. So I'm going to do a DB2. You could also save over it in DB, but this is a little cleaner. And now if you look at DB2, you'll see that this is the MySQL with our fake name account. There's our password, localhost, and the dataset's name is test. And that's what we wanted. Now we can start beginning to modify DB2. We're just going to go through exactly what they have in their start tutorial. We're going to create in our table, we're going to create a user in our data set, and then we are going to insert a new entry, insert another new entry. We'll talk more about these later. Copy, there we go. Paste. And then I'm going to quit. Perfect. We'll clean that up, so we're on to our next. Reviewing changes. We're going to go sudo service MySQL start. Job is already running, excellent. And we'll log into SQL with our username that was fake name and .p, and it'll ask us for a password. And our password, maybe that's what I used, perfect. Now, we're going to go through this process right here of showing our databases. Now what I'm going to do real quick is make a really common mistake where I forget to put the semicolon at the end. See an arrow, just put that semicolon and press enter. We can see here there's our test that we created, just as we would look. I'm going to use test. The database was changed, good to know. Let's show tables. One row, excellent. There's user that we created. And let's describe user. And there it is.